Ladies and gentlemen, let's move into the light away from the dark because since we all know pi, let's make this arc. All right. Now, hold on. I'm going to actually make an adjustment here. Let me make an adjustment. I don't know. I don't know. Trying to all right, hold on. Let me try that again. Aha. That's not so bad. All right. So anyway, you can type it with the at symbol or not. See what pops up. Type it here, type it here, type it on YouTube, type it on Facebook. You should be able to see me, right? You should. No, I have a vote of thanks to give a lot of people. I went from, listen, man, I go tell you the metrics. I went from that to that amount of subscribers in I in one post. I think it was one of my videos where it was part 4. Oh, good. Whew. I was looking for my tablet. I found it. Yeah. So let me apologize if I'm a little bit distracted. I'm typing in my password. Yeah. All right. So obviously, I'm gonna have to turn down the brightness all the way down to naught and pray that you can actually see something. All right, so you can actually see something, little something, something, right? Cool. All right, let's come on. I want to go to YouTube Studio. Here we go. I'm sorry, I got confused. Watch here, man. So it's called Since We All Know Pi, Let's Make This Arc on Zoom, part 4. That particular video. Let me tell you the metrics. It got 446 views. I didn't even promote this. 446 views, right? 9 likes, 4 comments. And I mean, if you don't believe me, let me just see. No, you're probably not going to be able to see all of that from here, but it's fine. I'm going to do a screen record. Yeah, let me hold myself accountable. I'm going to do a screen record. So if I say, you see, so if you see me in these videos and I tell you I go do something and I don't do it, drop the comment and say, hey, you said you would do that and you didn't do it. Yes, let me die when I die. Or let me show that discipline is everything when I do it every time. Right? Yeah. So I am grateful. I'm giving a vote of thanks. This is really what I'm doing. Right? This is obviously the conversation piece that I'm going to have with teachers. You see? That's what this is about. Right? I think I know why I had a change in trajectory in terms of, because look, my YouTube was suffering for a minute. Yeah, my YouTube wasn't seeing much activity. But guess what? I think because of the change in focus of the page overall, what do I do now? I used to do a lot of selfish advertising. Now I do a lot of selfless advertising, right? Selfless advertising, meaning I used to do the advertising on behalf of me, right? To get students to come to my classes. But I know how to do all of that. Attaching this here button to this page and that one. By the way, even before the acquisition, even before Meta took over all 3 entities, even before then, there was some integration between Instagram and Facebook where you're allowed to post from Instagram to Facebook automatically, all these things. But then here's where it gets even more interesting now. See, I've always known this about this platform. Whenever I did any form of advertising from here, it was always easier for me to place ads from here to here. So therefore, instead of me running two separate ads, running a Facebook ad and running an Instagram ad, I would just run this. You know, why would you get somebody that's just good at boxing or just good at kickboxing or just good at grappling when you have the one person that can do both of them? I'll give you an example. We're going to go MMA with it. This is John Jones. This is Rampage Jackson. I no disrespect, but, you know, John Jones is a little bit more, you know, he was more of a mixed martial artist. Why? Because he actually was good at striking and good at grappling. The problem with Rampage is that he's a good wrestler, but he never used offensive. You know what I'm talking about. All right. It's just like, same thing. John Jones, Israel Adesanya. Adesanya knows how to wrestle. But then you don't initiate a takedown. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, the point I'm making is, let me use it mathematically now. Think of this like completing a square and a quadratic formula and the AC method. This can get you all of those three. Whereas this is just like the AC method. Now, here's a problem. Nothing is wrong with just knowing the AC method, except for one thing. When you run into them situations where the first and the third term are prime numbers and the middle term is impossible to achieve, the AC method will not be sufficient. So therefore, yeah, I actually made a video about that before. So, you know, just the more you know, right? So that's my take on if I had to choose between these two, I'm gonna go with this. I mean, they've tried to get people to use WhatsApp ads. Trust me, the model is not there yet. It's not. The model isn't there yet. It just isn't. It's not there yet. So again, remind me to do the screen recording of this so I can show you. I show better than I tell, right? But yeah, this is I am celebrating. I'm celebrating moving from this to this. It might be a small victory to some, but this is a huge announcement for me. It really is. Now, there was a post that I saw from, I think it's Cole da Silva, and he was saying that if you don't have certain things, you're not in a position to tell people what to do. So for example, if you don't have your pages monetized as yet, blah, 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 you can't tell people about how to monetize and blah, 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 all these things, right? Or if you don't have, you know, whatever amount of success that you don't have, you can't tell people how to get it because at some point you have to show proof, blah, blah, blah. Now here's the problem with that. The problem with that is there's a school of thought, or let me just say it, you know, on behalf of, you know, Bossman Digital Media, right? A school of ridiculous thought, right? Especially on LinkedIn that I've seen, is that you're going to start off unqualified in the first place. You're not going to be the most qualified. You're not going to be the most experienced. You get that experience along the way. You eventually get to that place where you're in a position to tell people, you know, if you understand what I'm saying. You get to that place where you can actually do that. So it might seem like, oh, you're faking the funk. Like you're literally just making things up. However, you have to start somewhere. You know, fine. I don't have 6,100 subscribers. but I sure do know how to get people's attention so that people can support the work that I do, right? No, hold on. Let me see if I need to. Oh, oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Yeah. So, I don't know. See that? Wait there. Why? Why over here look dark though? Over here look like there's no light on me at all. Whatever. Anyhow, so in other words, I agree with him on the one hand, but on the other hand, think of playing Super Mario. You never start out the game like you start the game out this tall. You start the game out this tall. You get the mushroom, all of a sudden you're this tall. Then you get the flower, right? So each step of the way you improve and you get better to the point where you can actually have the authority to say, look, this is what I've done. I mean, not for nothing, you look on this page here, I have what 4,200 followers and whatever. Don't get me wrong, do not get me wrong. I have had my ups and downs. I've had times when people try to send me all kind of phony messages talking about, you know, that I've violated some, community standards, blah, blah, blah. A, a lot of attempts to try and take my page from me. Yeah, they've been made. And that's the thing. On your road and on your journey to success, understand this. There are pages and creators with far more success than any of us have ever had. And if they told you the amount of times they've had to create backup pages where they made it to like, let's say they made it to 2,000 subscribers and then all of a sudden the whole thing just got removed or got reported or taken down or whatever. And these are the storms that you're going to have to weather if you're going to be successful. And also, you put things in place just in case somebody goes after your account like that. And I figured I have a method to the madness. I have a method to the madness. So I can share some of it here, but then sometimes you have to down some of that back. This is, you don't want to show all your hand to everybody. You're playing dominoes, you know what go. You can't show nobody your hand. Funny enough, you don't need to show nobody your hand because these people are telepathic anyway. Them know what you have. It's part of the listen, not for nothing. You see me, I am convinced that everybody in Jamaica who play dominoes, low key, all of them named Professor X. They know what's in your hand. They know. All of them, they have conversations with Emma Frost. They have conversations with Jean Grey and Professor Charles Xavier. Yeah. They all know what is in your hand. They know. It's not about reading. No. They know what's in your hand. Anyway, fun and joke aside. Um I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It's just important that you know that these attacks on your credibility, it can happen regardless of whatever you do. Whatever content creator you are, whether you're an educator, whether you are a real estate, agent, or you know, you're a car salesman, whatever your business is, it can and will come under attack. Right? Can. But there are ways to protect yourself from that. And yeah, you just have to be clever. This is why it's important to be on Wi-Fit. Right? The WYFIT. Because you see, when you have a lot of your content distributed on all the platforms, it is possible for you to retrieve some of what you lost. And then also, in the event, let's say somebody came in and cleared everything. What you want to have You might want to have some OneDrive. You might want to have some Google Drive. That way, just in case. In fact, watch this. One of the tricks that I like using, upload something to your page. And as soon as you upload it, download that version of it that you just uploaded. Because what usually happens is it goes up as like, say, 580 megabytes. When you download it, it comes back as 58. Comes back as 58. So anyhow, I guess moral of today's story is that, yes, I'm celebrating my small victories. That's one. And yeah, I'm trying to be a man of my word. Right? So when I start hearing from teachers, I will get this segment going where I have a conversation right here. Because this is how it's gonna look. And if, let's say you don't want to show your face, you don't have to. Like you don't have to show your face. I can show mine. I'm brave enough. I'll I'll take the hits for you. I'll take the hits for you. You know, so if you happen to say something that offends people because, oh, well, how could you be working for our school and you say that's about us and don't worry about it. I'll take the hits. I'll take the hits. I'll take the hits. All right. So this is all about having a discussion about all the challenges and concerns you have within. In other words, you are in the field. Yeah. You're on the grounds. Yeah, you are the grunts, right? So you're on the front lines. Yeah, you are actually in the classroom. In fact, speaking of that, there was a line. There's a picture that I saw on LinkedIn. And it said, wait, give me a second. Hold on. Give me 1 second there. Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. There. Right. Yeah. What was I saying? I don't know if I can find it, but I'm trying to paraphrase what was said. It said, how is it that educators who are in the classroom are never yet considered as experts in their respective field? In other words, it's always somebody who they're on the administrative side and they're higher up and they're not the actual practitioners, they're not the educators, but yet they're considered the expert, but not you who've been in the classroom and you see what works, you see what doesn't work and all these things. In fact, I saw something that I actually reposted to my story on this Facebook page. There's a lecturer at UE that suggests that he believes that PEP, right, primary exit profile, he believes that PEP should be abolished. Cool? But I have a different take on that. So, since we all know perspective is everything, let's make this a real conversation. So, let me tell you what my suggestion would be. Watch this. Who the big three? We the big three. Let's say we have PEP. Let's say we have GSAT. And let's say we also have common entrance, right? So let's talk about that. Imagine this for a second. Imagine if you wanted to go to, what would I say now? I want to phrase this correctly. I want to phrase this correctly. You have PEP, you have GSAT, you have. All right. So if you want to go to an elite school, You have your children to pay. If you want your children to go to an A grade school, you let them do GSAT. And if you want your kids to go to a B grade school, you let them the common entrance. Yeah, I believe that should have been the approach. That's what I think. Right and left hand to God, that's what I think. I think, why did we get rid of this and this? Why did we get rid of that? I mean, in America, you have what? Let me see if I remember it correctly. You have the SAT and the ACT. So you could have used the ACT if you didn't want to do the SAT and vice versa. So why didn't we incorporate the use of common entrance, GSAT, and PEP and give parents the option and say, look, depending on what your child's aptitude is, if you believe that this is where they are, let them do common entrance. If you believe this is where they are, let them do GSAT. Or it could be a thing where, you know what I mean? It could be even determined that it could even get to a point where if a child has done this, they could also do this if they wanted to. You understand? So what going on? I just don't understand why we felt like, why did we feel the need to just, well, get rid of this, get rid of that? Why did we think that this was the best thing? Why? Because no, you don't have many options. Why shut down the amount of options you have? Why do that? When has that ever worked? It doesn't work in social media. You know, being only on Facebook doesn't make any sense. You need to be on Wi-Fi. You need to be on, if you're an artist, you can't just be on Spotify. You need to be on several streaming platforms. You cannot just be on Spotify. Realistically, you can't. You will not survive. Same thing with managing social media. You need to be on WYFIT. You need to be on Wi-Fi. And you also need to be on LinkedIn, because that's where you're going to get a whole bunch of supporters. Yeah. So why was this a good idea? Why was it a good idea to eliminate this and that? No, give people options. Give them the option. Well, what do I know? After all, I'm just a practitioner. I'm not an expert in the field. What do I know? Well, that's a, you know, that's one of the conversation pieces. One of them. Um, oh, I mean, obviously there's a crisis with, you know, literacy and all of these things, right? Um, how would we address that? Well, see, that's the reason why a lot of teachers are probably going to contact me, because, well, if you, let's say, for example, look, there's a lot of reading specialists, reading intervention, um, you know, literacy coaches, reading interventionists, speech coaches, you know, speech therapy practitioners, just name it. Name it. There's a lot of corrections to be done. Or rather, in a famous song, there's a lot of work to be done in the promised land. You know. Yeah, I was going to drop in the boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I was going to put in that. Um, So yeah, there's those are the considerations that you have to think about. Because here's the problem. If we are having a discussion of the possibility of, let's say, abolishing pet, let's say that you're having that conversation. The problem is, what are you going to replace it with? So my suggestion is don't replace it, right? Let's keep the options. So don't get rid of pet. Don't get rid of GSAT. Don't get rid of common interest. Keep all three, right? Keep all three. Yeah, right? Because but this in particular, you have grade 4, grade 5, grade 6 exams. I can understand why there are a lot of people who just say, you know what, this is too much. This is too much. Because if we remember historically, these two were mainly grade 6 exams. So for you now to pull kids out of grade 4, 5, and 6 and have them doing an exam, all like it's a lot. It's a lot. But yeah. So that's why see the whole point of this is that I'll be having a discussion with the teachers. Because you know what? If listen, if nobody will listen to you, I will. So if you're a teacher and you want to have a conversation with me about all of these concerns that you have, here's what you can also do. You can let me know what you think about my crazy idea right here. How about that? Yeah, leave that in the comment section, regardless of wherever you see this post. Right? Wherever you see this post. If you see this on WhatsApp, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you see this, let me know what you think. Yeah? About us keeping all three. Because you have more options. You will not have a problem with placement for kids that need to go to high school. And they'll go where they're supposed to go according to their level. If they're at common entrance level, then let them do that. Maths, English, mental ability. Boom. And it does it mean that you're done? No, because a lot of us grew up on this. A lot of us went to the school of our first choice on the strength of just common entrance. Anyway, not going into that. This is the reason why when I did my common entrance exam, I did my best not to fail it because I did not want to do this. Yeah, I was the last batch. Okay, I was the last. Mhm. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Not in my time. Not in my time. So anyhow, that's it. So, thank you for spending any amount of time with me if you did, right? Oh, the whole point of this is that if you wanted to actually reach out to me, what you could do is just, yeah, find the WhatsApp button on Facebook and Instagram. It's fine. I'll show you how to do it in the featured section, right? There's that. Um, that's it. I just wanted to share, wanted to share my small victory, and also any conversation piece that you would like to share with me. Any ideas that you think I have not yet explored. Yeah, feel free to WhatsApp me on Facebook or Instagram, and you let me know, right? Because remember now, I'm a teacher of mathematics, but practically now I'm a teacher of PEP as well. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mathematics, language arts, social studies, and science. And mental ability too. So, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's like going from 3 5-minute rounds to 5 5-minute rounds. These championship rounds are different, guys. It's nothing. Yeah, it's nothing like the undercard, not the undercard. No, not 3 5 minute rounds. Championship rounds, rounds 4 and 5. Okay, yeah, you put it on the big boy pants. No, yeah. So yeah, but I mean, as much as it was fun for me to just make that joke a while ago, just throwing that little MMA reference. Yeah, I've literally taken the step to, gaining more knowledge and experience in, you know, having these subjects taught. So, yeah, it's already testing my confidence. But I suppose the longer I do it, they always say, you don't do it when you feel better. You feel better when you do it. So remember what I said about what Calder Silver said about, well, if you don't have the experience, you shouldn't really be talking about that. But how are you going to get the experience if you never start? You have to start. You have to start. You have to start. So even if they're like, why should we listen to you? And you don't have these tangible achievements as yet. Watch this. Because what is your job again? Your job is to be in the habit of your job is to be in the process of making abundant tangible habits. And what that means. Sure, you don't have 1,000 subscribers now. You don't have whatever right now. But it doesn't mean you're not going to have them. And it doesn't mean you're not building the confidence and the know-how to actually show people what you need to be doing. Because remember, it's not about what you do, it's about what you do every day. The problem with people is that, and I've made this video before, right? Think of a download progress bar. I'll draw a small one right here. Our frustration with life is this. Here's our frustration with life. See, we want this to be all the way down there. And this is just taking a little bit too long to fill up. And we just can't wait until it hurry up. It's kind of like watching your own children grow, and let's say they're having speech development issues. And you just can't wait for your children to be able to talk. Cat Williams had a joke about that. If you remember, if you know, you know, right? But as time goes by, you eventually get to hear. You eventually get to hear. So just because the progress isn't as fast as you want it to be, doesn't mean it's not happening. Doesn't mean it's not happening. Because remember what I showed you as we just started the video. Literally, I don't know what I did. I don't know what I did. I genuinely, because I didn't post it on WhatsApp. I didn't post it on WhatsApp. I didn't even throw it in my WhatsApp channel or anything. Didn't do that. I have new subscribers now. So I want to give a shout out to all of my Caribbean teachers, my Niger teachers, my Ugandan teachers, my South African teachers. Yeah. Anybody from the different countries that I might have listed and so on. And especially my teachers on LinkedIn, you have my eternal gratitude, okay? Eternal. Yeah. So this is the frustration we fight with every day. Feeling like, okay, well, we post and but we're not seeing the outpour of all the results. It's not gonna happen all at once. It's not going to happen all at once. In fact, I had to explain this frustration to my students when I was teaching them. They thought that they had to understand what I was showing them while in class. I say, your job is not to understand it right now. Your job is to develop the confidence so that after this class is done, you go and you try it for yourself. And when you try it for yourself, that's when the understanding kicks in. It's when you do all of the homework, right? It's the homework. It's the multiple variations of the different questions coming in, and you try them and you come back to me and you show me a question and you say, I didn't know what to do. I was stuck here and I'm not sure how to navigate that. So I want to be responsible for my teachers as much as I was responsible for my students and still am. There's so much for me to do. And I think that might be my own frustration. Because sometimes I'm here, and then when I'm here, I'm not doing enough on the other platforms and all of that. So I have to be mindful, right? So I'm learning how to compartmentalize. So for example, these type of videos will be on the YouTube, on the Facebook. Why? Because in fact, what am I even talking about? They can go on TikTok as well. Let me tell you why. Because TikTok has a wonderful feature called, you might see it in the middle, and you touch something called full screen. Yeah, because it typically puts everything in a 9:16 automatically. And then when you go on the platform and you upload the video, they have this little thing that says full screen. You touch that and it flips it sideways for you so that you can, yeah. 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 You know what? I'm gonna screen record that. I'm gonna screen record that. So anyway, this is our frustration. Our frustration comes from feeling like it just will take too long. But they always say, the reason why the process of your success feels like it's taking forever is because your blessing is that much larger. Think about it like this. If this was just let's say this was an 80 megabyte file. Okay. Okay. Cool. Let's put this in context. What if this was an 800 terabyte file? That hits different. It might take you 2 hours just to get here. Yeah? Just imagine that. Imagine that it took you 2 hours to get here. And remember, not every day is the same. Some days the internet is a little faster, some days a little slower. So think about that. So the larger your blessing, the longer it might take for you to get to where you want to go. So therefore, as they say, or rather in the words of the philosopher known as Seneca, we suffer more from imagination than from reality. Or we suffer more from imagination than in reality, which means we're looking at this and we're seeing this as this is not good enough because we take too long to get an 800 terabyte file. Not remembering that it's an 800 terabyte file. You're not asking for something small. Well, pause. Sorry. Your blessing that you're asking for is not a small blessing. Right? So therefore, you have to do extraordinary things to get the extraordinary. You can't do what everybody else does and expect to be a high achiever. So you have to be willing to endure the pain of waiting for a couple of days to get to here. You have no idea how many days you have to wait for it to get to here. But when you did wait, look at what you have left. Look at this. Look at this space that you have left. That look like 95%. And what, can you stop when you get here? No. You go until the job is done. That's right. That's the meaning of making abundant tangible habits. Because at the end of the day, sometimes what happens to a lot of us is that we stop before the download finish. So that's what happens, right? So we have this, and we have the choice to click on cancel. And sometimes we click cancel, not knowing how close we were to the end. And that's why a lot of times people get frustrated when they are trying to make abundant tangible habits. Yeah. So therefore, I know the frustrations that I face. So I don't fool myself and act like even I am immune from it. I have to discipline myself every day to say, hey, understand that even if I'm not careful with my shielding, I need to be disciplined to know that, hey, guess what? It don't look like much, but the blessing is coming. So trust the process. Do it every day anyway. Die anyway. Do it every day anyway. If you're going to live, just die anyway. Just do it every day anyway. And I know, it sounds morbid, doesn't it? Die anyway. What do you mean by die anyway? Do it every day anyway. Don't matter how you feel. Just do, and a lot of people will say to you, because you have to understand this. You have to understand this. Some people will say, there's no point to having consistency if you don't have strategy. I agree with that. I agree with that. You have to have a system that works for you. I've developed a system. And sometimes your system is dependent on your 9 to 5. Sometimes you're working Monday to Friday, so you say, okay, I don't have the time Monday to Thursday. But you do on Friday, you do on Saturday, you do on Sunday. So what you do? You utilize your Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Because you don't have that extra obligation. Yeah? So therefore, you utilize the time that you don't have to go into the office. You don't have to go in on those days. So use that time, right? So let's say, for example, your Saturday and Sunday will be your recording days, and you post Monday to Friday. When you get back around to Saturday, you record again. And you just keep going and going and going and just and also you can even pace yourself. Record ahead of time. Just like how some people write lesson plans ahead of time. Just like how when people are making movies, they do what? A lot of pre-production. right? And then they start going, I mean, they comb through hours of footage and then scale it down. A lot of the hours of footage that they do has to be edited all the way down to fit maybe a little over an hour and a half to 2 hours. Imagine trying to cram, right? Over 200 hours of footage, and you try and turn that to 2 hours. That's compression. Okay? And so I try to lead by example. Is this frustrating? Doing this, rambling about, semi-sensible things? Might be. But the beauty about it is that I feel invigorated. I have a renewed sense of purpose, especially when it comes to this page. Because all of this used to be about me. So the page was a little bit narcissistic. Yeah. But now the page is more selfless now. It's more about, hey, I made my mistakes. I'm correcting them. So now that I'm correcting them, I can go through that process with you and say, look, I'll connect your WhatsApp business to your Facebook and your Instagram so that when people go to those pages, they'll know, hey, and then tutorials are already made to show people how to get to your Instagram, how to get to your Facebook, how to message you for business inquiries, how to sign up for your classes using a Google form, because the Google form is already in the Instagram link. So if they want to go to the Instagram link, they click on that, boom. You can just, if you want to register for class, there's a Google form. The Google form is right there. And it's the easiest way because everybody's on Instagram. At least, all right. I even did the study. I think Facebook has close to 3 billion something users. Instagram has somewhere a little over like maybe 2.1, 2.2 billion users. And now that's where things get interesting. See, this might be a real conversation for another day, but let me try and close. All right, I'm going to try and close. A lot of people, they like to do this thing where so let me walk you through it now. So you have what I have labeled as Y-Fit. Okay? Y-Fit. Yeah, let me apologize if my WhatsApp looks a little bit suspect. Oh my God. Oh man. So you have the WhatsApp there. Yeah, let me apologize for this video being as long as it is. All right. You know, yeah, why am I write lean? Why am I writing lean, man? Why am I doing that? Why am I doing that? All right, cool. Yeah, look a bit better. Look a bit better. No, there's a reason why I'm writing these. I've I've heard people say something to this effect. I've heard people say to me they don't need a Facebook account. I've heard people say this to me. I've heard people say this to me. They don't need a TikTok account. I've heard people say that to me. This is it. So instead of having 5 out of 5, you want 3 out of 5. So you want to get 60%. That's what you're saying. And that's the problem with that's the pie that I wanted to show you. PIE, perspective is everything. Because seriously, 3/5, what is that? If you multiply that by 2/2, okay, let's look at it again. That is 6/10. Multiply that by 10/10. What that? That's 60%. So you're telling me you want to get 60% on a paper. So in your endeavor to monetize and get the most out of your social media, you only want 60%. That's it. So you're not ambitious. You don't want to get the A. So you're glad to get the C. Anyway, I'm only presenting it to you like this because I've heard people say, I don't need this because, well, I've not had success on this platform. Fine. You've never had success on the platform. Let somebody manage that for you. It's not your job to be successful on the platform. You let the person that manages the social media manage this for you. It's really that simple. Right? Sorry about that. This, that, and this are connected. Right? So there's if you're going to be running ads, right? Sometimes to get people to look at these videos. You saw what I did here, right? Okay. Oh my God. Yeah. So anyway, sometimes you drop the links of this over here. Think about this. Can you drop links from this over here? No. I did it again, didn't I? I don't know what's wrong with me. Yeah, you can't. So you can't drop links from here over here, right? Right? You're not able to do that, right? You can't drop it over here, and you can't drop it over here. Can't do that. But you can drop the links from here, over here, and over here. You have to find neat and unique ways to get people interested in what you want them to look at. For example, let's say I want you to look at all of the live streams that I do, and you miss the live stream. Well, if you miss the live stream, here you go. I'll just tell you, I dropped the live stream link, right, in the WhatsApp channel. So go ahead and watch it before they delete it. 1. 2, I can also make it available to you after I download the entire live stream and I re-upload the entire live stream and also make it up. So you'll get the original live stream link and then maybe the downloaded link after the fact. That way, just in case they decide to delete it, we have our own copy that we can actually see over here, right? So you just have to get creative about what you're doing. So this is the problem. When people are adamant, like they're like, oh, I don't need this and I don't need that. And you look at them and you go, so let me get this straight. If you went into MMA, you're telling me you don't want to learn grappling and you don't want to learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Well, you're going to get cooked out there. That's all that's going to happen. And we're just going to watch you get destroyed. And when it happens, you're going to be like, well, we're just going to look at you and be like, you told us you had no interest in learning that. I'm not going to be the one to tell you that you should have learned it. Think about this as what? The subjects that you're doing in PET. You think you can look at them and say, Oh, I don't need social studies. You have to do it. You have to do the social studies. You can't tell them that, oh, well, I don't need that anyway. No, you need the social studies. You need the science. You can since you know what, see, all right, no, since we all know pilots make this art, since all that you want me to do, since all that you want me to do, fine. See it here? No, the social media thing now work, all right. It now work, right? Right, we have maths. We have language arts, okay? Yeah, we have that. We have social studies, right? We have a science, and then we have the what they call it, the performance task, known as mental ability, right? So yeah. So you gonna look on the examination bodies and tell them, say, well, because my favorite subject is maths and English and this mental ability right here, you go look at them and say, oh, I don't need to pass these. Oh, sorry about this. Hold on there. Hold on. So you're going to tell these people that you don't need social studies or science. You don't need that. Seriously? I look a little bit, there we go. All right, good, yeah. I look so, come on, man. One thing with me, I don't like, I like when my markers look pale. Don't worry. Soon get wholly upon new marker. I have a story for you, but that's on another page for another day. So, I'm going to be doing, um, from obviously the same seat and location, but this time it's going to be an episode of Sup with Bro, so you'll understand. If you know, you know. But anyway, for another time. Um, you don't get to pick and choose which one of them you think is relevant. You have to pass all of these. This is what you had to do for social studies. I mean, let me try that again. You needed all of the five. You needed all five for GSAT. You still need all of them for PEP. So it didn't matter. Don't matter whether you were doing GSAT or if you were doing PEP. Whether you were doing GSAT or PEP, you couldn't tell them that you only want only this and that matter to you. You don't care about this or that. No, you have to pass these two. So therefore, look at your social media like that. Don't look and say, I don't need Instagram or I don't need TikTok. I don't need Facebook. Why would I need a Facebook account? Have you ever been an artist in your life? Yeah, you cannot only be on Spotify. How many times did I tell you that? You cannot only be on Spotify. You need to be everywhere. You need to, or you never watch Naruto. You never realize what's the philosophy behind him using shadow clones. You have to give the appearance of being everywhere. That's what advertising is. It's like people can't escape you. Every time them scroll, them see you. Every time them scroll, them see you. You turn the corner, there's Batman. You run away again, there's Batman. It's like, why are you everywhere? That's what you have to do in order to win. You have to provide the illusion that you're everywhere. This is why you have volume punchers in boxing. You have to make this person feel like it's a million hands dropping. You have to make them feel like that. Provide the illusion that him in a fight with about 300 people. So now you're in there and you just wow, who is this? I'm not fighting one man. This is an army. It's an army of men in front of me. And me one, this is not a fair fight. That's how it should be. This is why would you cripple yourself on purpose? Why would you do that? Why would you cut down your own options? Why would you do that? Like, think about this. Would you personally allow your phone to be on this percent all day? So you want your phone for the past 60% all day. So as it reach 60, you just plug it out and go road with that. You wouldn't do that with your phone, but you wanted that with your social media. That don't make sense. You wanted that with your subjects that you're doing for paper or GSAT. That don't make sense. So that's the reason why I am of the philosophy that I have that, hey, come on. Since we all know pi, let's make this arc. In other words, don't be ignorant. Please do not be ignorant. There are so many brilliant teachers I see on TikTok every day. Some of the most amazing content that I've seen as an educator. Some of the most brilliant videos that I've seen regarding education has been on TikTok. So the question is, why would you say, oh, I hate TikTok? What does that have to do with anything? Your dislike of the platform doesn't mean you should not utilize it to, one, connect with other teachers doing the same thing as you. You can learn from them. They can learn from you. You can build a network with them. Why would you deny yourself that? And this is the thing. Let me just say this because I need to say it. If you're one of those people that you're willing to do this and cut off your own nose to spite your face, hey, you cannot be helped by me. You can't. Yes, I do apologize if sometimes it was, a little bit grainy and so on. Yeah. Anyway, I've been here for quite a bit of time, so I'm going to check the quality of this video. Anyway, I hope you understood the point of my presentation. Dear God, it goes in and out. I really hope that didn't happen for long. Anyway, I've rambled enough. Let me apologize for that. I'm going to cut this video into several parts so that you don't have to endure this entire lecture. Really? No. I started with a mini celebration, then I went into, quite a few conversations. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah. My philosophy is don't go on the road with 60% battery on your phone. Don't do that with your social media. Don't do that with your subjects. Right? You have 5. Do the 5. Do the 5 to the best of your ability. That's the whole point of Wi-Fi. WhatsApp, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Drop in LinkedIn too as an honorable mention. Yeah. Anyway, but don't chat. All right. So yes, now we must drift away into the dark. Because since we all know pi, let's make this arc. Gone, Take care now. Take care.